Welcome to this tutorial on implementing 3D particle effects in Java. In this video, we will explore how to create stunning visual effects that can enhance your games and applications. Whether you are a beginner or someone looking to brush up their skills, this tutorial is for you. First, let's talk about what particle effects are. Particle effects are often used in games to simulate phenomena like smoke, fire, explosions, and magic spells. They are typically composed of a large number of small images, or particles, that move or change over time to create the illusion of these effects. To get started, we'll need to set up a Java environment. We will be using the Java SE Development Kit along with a graphics library. For this tutorial, we will use JavaFX for rendering our 3D particle system. Make sure you have JavaFX properly configured in your IDE. Before we dive into the coding, let's take a look at the structure of our particle system. A particle system typically consists of the following components: a particle manager to handle the particles, a particle class for individual particles, and a rendering method to display the particles on the screen. Let's create a new Java class called Particle. This class will represent a single particle in our system. The particle class will need properties such as position, velocity, life duration, and color. Here's how it looks. In this particle class, we define properties for position, velocity, lifespan, and color. The update method updates the position based on the velocity and decreases the lifespan, while isAlive checks if the particle is still active. Next, we will create a particle system class that will manage the collection of particles. This class will be responsible for adding new particles and updating all existing particles. In the particle system class, we maintain a list of particles and provide methods for adding new particles and updating them each frame. If a particle is no longer alive, we remove it from the list. Now we need to visualize our particles. We will create the main application class that initializes JavaFX and draws the particles in 3D. Let's call this class Particle App. Here's the initial setup. In the Particle App class, we initialize the JavaFX application and set up a basic scene with a perspective camera. This will serve as our main entry point for the particle system. Now, let's implement the rendering of particles. We will create a method to draw each particle as a small sphere in the scene, using the particle's position and color. Here's the method. This renderParticles method iterates through the particles in the system and creates a sphere for each alive particle. We set its position and color based on the particle's properties. Now we need to update and render particles in a loop. To achieve this, we'll use an animation timer, which allows us to create a smooth frame update for our application. This animation timer updates the particle system and renders particles on each frame. We assume a frame rate of 60 frames per second, which simplifies our time delta calculations. Let's add functionality to generate particles. We can add a method that creates new particles at random locations with random velocities and colors at designated intervals. In the GenerateParticles method, we utilize random values to create new particles with varying properties. This will give our particle effect a more dynamic feel. Finally, we will add the GenerateParticles method to our animation loop, ensuring that new particles are created consistently during the update. Now let's put everything together in the start method of Particle App. In this method, we can handle the animation and render loop, so everything functions smoothly. Now, let's run our application. You should see a burst of colorful particles floating around the screen. Experiment with the particle properties to see how it affects the behavior and appearance of the particles. To summarize, we have created a simple 3D particle system using JavaFX. We defined our particle and particle system classes to manage particles and updates, and we visualize them using spheres in a JavaFX application. Feel free to expand on this project by adding more features, such as different particle types, textures, or interaction with the environment. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to learn more about Java programming and game development, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the like button. Also, share your thoughts or questions in the comments below. Happy coding!